Hey, what's up YouTube? I want to show you what I'm doing here. I am re-spooling my reel. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing here. I'm re-spooling my pin slammer. This is the old pin slammer 360. I've had it for years, and this last year I had it spooled up with Cast King. You can get this off Amazon. Most stores don't have it yet, but I've been using it on my big reels and this little reel all summer. I hadn't had any problems, but I got a few wind knots, and I had to tie the line back together with a uni knot while I was out there. And on the big reels you can tie a line back together, but on these little reels, if you look, you see the knot is right there in the spool, and it won't feed through these little guides. On the big reels it works fine and you can tie your line back together, but on this, what'll happen is when you throw the lure or whatever, the line going out will get hooked on the knot that's underneath, and you spend most of your time fooling with the knot. So I am going to re-spool this reel and hopefully get another 6 months out of it with the line I got left over here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, like, you know, maybe the quarter of the spool with just some 12-pound Berkeley trilene right here. And that's going to create the backing. So, because if you don't know, braid doesn't stretch. So when you spool it just as a bare spool, it won't get tight on the spool, and it'll just sit there and spin. And you won't have, I mean, you'll think line, it's your drag, but it's actually the spool spinning on itself, the spool of line spinning on itself. So you got to have a little mono backing to stretch and tighten down on the spool. And so I'm going to be fishing for bull reds predominantly this winter with this little guy, and I need to re-spool. I mean, you can get away with just top shotting braid, but I use this reel for so many different water species that I need. I just go ahead and fill it full of braid. That way I can be, you know, left or right. I can do big fish, little fish, and I don't have to worry about the line rotting, and it'll last a little longer. So I'm gonna go quarter spool with this, and then the rest of the way with this Cast King 25-pound braid. You can get away with 20 for bull reds. I use that a lot, but I'm gonna go with 25 because it's in the middle. So I'll show you how I'm gonna do this. All right, I'm gonna just go ahead and start stripping it off. Just pulling it off, the whole process, right here on the floor. Now, braided fishing line lasts a long time. Usually you can get away with using this stuff until it's frayed or it's losing its color or whatnot. Like this line's still looking pretty good. I mean, it still looks good, but I've got like half a spool of just knots that I've tied being on the fly, trying to reuse line. And I'm going to be fishing some pretty big fish. These bull reds are really big and strong. So I'm just going to go ahead and re-spool it. I mean, this line's been on here like probably 8 months. You could probably get a little longer out of this, and I use it a lot. And then, but also you got to realize that the backing underneath it is it's getting old too. I mean, it's been on there the same amount of time. So I had a lot of this line left over sitting in the garage, and I'm just going to go ahead and re-spool it. See the little uni to uni knot? That's mono right there, and this is the braid. And this is the half spool I was talking about. See, this line's been on here a long time. I'm just going to go ahead and take it all the way down to the bare spool. Alright, I got it all the way down to the bottom. All the way to the bottom of the spool. Now, time for this. Alright, half spool, half spool. Now I'm going to attach the braid. I just got done spooling it back up. Slap full right there. Not too much, because when you put braid on, you got to get it really tight. Like, you got to get it really tight in here, because it'll bind on itself when you hook a big fish. Like the line will sink down inside the other, you know, where it's wrapped around. That line will sink down inside into the other sections of the line, and it'll cinch up. And I actually had this happen on a bull red one time. I was fighting it, and the line sunk down into the spool and locked up. And if it would have been another couple, you know, hard runs, he would have either broke my shit in half or broke me off or whatever. So make sure you get it tight, because after you cast a couple times, it's going to get loose and it's going to start drooping off the spool. That's why I didn't overfill it here, because it's got to give it some room to expand and contract. So this is what it looks like. Quarter spool mono, the rest all the way braid, because I fish a lot of bigger species with this little reel and I need some running room, and the braid lasts a lot longer. Just a quick add-in on this Cast King line. The reason why I switched to this is you get 500 meters or 547 yards for like 20 bucks. And with that much line, I can spool like 3 reels easy with this one spool. Whereas I would spend 20 bucks on 150 yard spool of Power Pro. So for the money, this is an awesome deal, and it seems to last just as long. It's on my big reels. I've been using it for over a year on my big reels, and no fraying, not losing color, hossing in everything. So check this stuff out. It's a cheap man, poor man's version of braided Power Pro, and it works awesome. See you later. If you got any questions on this, shoot it to me. Follow me on Yak Motley, Facebook, Instagram, Yak Motley, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you later.